Good afternoon, dear participants and our distinguished speakers. Good afternoon, and greetings from Desma Center, Jakarta. Welcome to the discussion of community-based tourism best practices in Southeast Asia. We would like to thank you very much to the participant who already joined us today, either by Zoom meeting room or our YouTube channel. And it is also the great honor and great opportunity for us to have prominent speakers, the top people who have worked so long and so much in sustainable tourism in their field of expertise and in a country and in Southeast Asia like what we have today. Today, our distinguished speakers are Bapak Dr. Frans Teguh. He is expert of sustainable development and conservation, Indonesia Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, and Madam Susan Santos de Cardenas. She's a president and CEO, Society for Sustainable Tourism from the Philippines. And we also have Bapak Ari Suhandi, founder and director of Indecon. And of course, we also have Kun Wacare Churuksa, Assistant of Director General from DASTA, Designated Areas for Sustainable Tourism Administration, Thailand. Dear participant, I'm Wiwik Mahdayani, founder and director of Desma Center. We are the organization that focuses on sustainable tourism by applying planning, managing, developing, marketing destination with sustainable tourism approach. Dear participant and our distinguished speakers, before we start, please raise together for Indonesia National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. Thank you. Thank you. Dear participant, for your information, we will distribute the attendance list form during the answer and question session. And today, we are going to discuss about community-based tourism best practices and lesson learned in Southeast Asia. And why we are here, because Southeast Asian countries currently really focus on the question of how tourism can benefit local community. And we have one of the tools that we call CBT, community-based tourism, as a means for sustainable tourism mechanism in development. And what we know right now, we have several challenges in implementing community-based tourism in Southeast Asia, which include strengthening institutional capacity, access to market and funding or financial sustainability, And one of the most question is on how to sustain CBT operation and build partnership with other stakeholders. And that is why today we are going to discuss CBT best practices and lesson learned, and how is the CBT implementation in Southeast Asia. And we already have our distinguished speakers in the line of speakers right now. We have Bapak Dr. Franz Teguh. He is going to deliver his opening remarks on the discussion. Bapak Dr. Franz Teguh is the expert of sustainable tourism and conservation, Indonesia Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. He's also founder and chairman Center for Integrated Sustainable Management Studies on Tourism, Environment, and Social Development since 2011. And he's also chairman of Volunteer Tourism or Volunteerism Network or VTNet since 2011. He received his Master of Arts in Tourism and Hospitality Management, Bournemouth University, England in 1997, and also a tourism doctoral program from Gajah Mada University, Yogyakarta in 2012. And that is some of the several highlight in the CV because it's very long, Bapak. We would apologize to a little bit shorten that version. Okay, Bapak Franz Teguh, the floor is yours, Bapak. Please.
Thank you, Ibu Wilik, the director and founder of Desma, Destination Management, and also the speakers, Madam Susan from Philippines, Pak Hari, Ibu Miss Wachari from Thailand. All participants, ladies and gentlemen. So it is really happy for me to share some ideas and also discuss about the community-based tourism in the context of Indonesia as a lesson learned. And perhaps we can also learn from our partners from Philippines and also from Thailand, as well as my colleagues, the champion in ecotourism and community-based, Pak Arya. Everybody knows about him. Well, my presentation, okay, can you help me to share the presentation, please? Okay, thank you, Pak Ferdinand. Yes, my presentation will be focusing on the convergence model of community-based desa wisata in Indonesia. We call the rural tourism as a model of the desa wisata. Will be included in the sustainable tourism approach. So that is the ideas that can triggering all the participants to discuss further. Yes, you can come down, please. Next slide. Yes. So I will talk about the national tourism policies and also to include the tourism crisis in this moment. It's also happened in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, of course, and also the global. Then again, we are talking about the destination management, tourism village, and also link with the sustainable one. And I also highlight some important features and challenges. Let down, please. Yes, I would like to overview some current situation that happened to Indonesia tourism and creative economy sectors, and I think we should have to reset, re-strategize, and also redesign our target, our market as well. So that is really a great moment for us. Even the crisis also a challenge, but also an opportunity for the country to see the prospect and also the proper strategy and program. Well, next slide, please. So, yeah, this is the figure about our situation currently, and it happens already 1 year, and since February of since the early of this year until now. So we are suffer in terms of unemployment, and also the business really come down. But then again, as I mentioned, that it's a time to recovery. It is time to rebound, and also it is time to reactivation all the tourism business and sectors, including how then we can also give opportunity for the communities, for the stakeholders, for all the parties to revive their business in tourism. Yes, next slide, please. And in the global situation, we still see the trends happening, not only because of the pandemic, but I think for the global situation, we should have to note down that the global middle class population, emerging generation, but then again, the pandemic, the situation of the disasters or politicals also happens, but then also we include the sustainable tourism dimension as a part of the trends in the future, and also the technology ones as a digitalization, automatization as well. And it's also a kind of the business model that we should have to adapt to. Next slide, please. So then, okay, next. So I would like also to see some next slides is about the leisure and traveling trends, because right now we should have to adapt to the new normal or better normal. So that is also a kind of the terms that we are using today. But again, so it should be adopted prudently and strategically in doing our business in tourism. But overall, I think our model in community-based, or also in the nature-based tourism, including authentic experience, more resilience, more prioritized in health and hygiene, sanitation, and more sensitive to the new protocol if they are doing traveling all over the country, internally or domestic travel, and also how then we can cope with the international profile of the visitors. So that is again heated and also adapt and impact to our business. Next, please. So the new normal, so as I think this is also happened to all the countries. So we put the priority for the hygiene, more digitalized, no contact, and also focus on the domestic one, opportunity for the new business model, prepare for the crisis, as well as to include the sustainability dimension as a product, as a experience for travelers, for tourists. Next. So in this moment, I think it's also important to share some program that we have already done so far in terms of the social protection program, labor intensive, and also some scheme of the stimulus to give opportunity and also incentive for business owner, or also for the people, laborers to have a kind of the opportunity to revival and also to rebound. Next, please. But overall, I think we have already make up in the certain strategy. So we are focusing on the crisis and mitigating the impact, accelerating recovery and also prepare the national plan post-COVID-19. So post-vaccine, perhaps after 2021, for example, next year, if the vaccines already discovered and provided to all the people in Indonesia and also I think for the global one. So I think we can also have the great opportunity to reactivate our business. But then again, this is a kind of program and planning that now we already put on our pipeline. But then again, we consider a lot for the time being right now. Next, please, about the fear factor and the purchasing power. So I think that is also our challenge. But then again, how then we can cultivate the confidence, the credibility, the trust from the public. So that's why in every single destination, for example, and also every region now, we enforce and advocate all the stakeholders to implement the protocol, the health protocol, and also the guidelines or directive on cleanliness, health, safety, and environment sustainability. So this is also our national scheme. As I underlined before, that it is about our objective, main objective, to have the confidence, to have the credibility, and also to gain a positive or more positive sentiment, positive perception to the customer, to the people, and also especially for the domestic traveler as well as the international market. So that's why our strategy focus on how then we analyze supply side and demand side. So next slide, please. Demand side and next one. Demand side and yes, this is about our protocol and handbook guidelines. We are focused on the hotel, restaurant, homestay, tourist attraction, village tourism as well, rafting, and also a range of special interest travel and tourism. So that is again just to give the commitment and also the consistency of the policy to boost the development of tourism and a creative economy. Yeah, next. Well, yeah, that is our main strategy. So we put human resources as well the community, digital and innovation, the ecosystem as a baseline. But then again, we creating the tourism ecosystem. So it is also important to move to the more quality tourism as our main objective for next 5 years and also for the long term. So we are focused to more quality, more quality of the experience, length of stay, and then can provide more benefit to the communities as well as to the conservation one, to the environment, and also promote heritage and culture as well. Next, please. So yeah, this is a kind of the strategy and analysis how to balance between the supply side and demand side. So that is our effort so far, and we are sure and we believe that by putting on our program and also multiplied by our partners, cross sectors, and also regional government as well as district one, and also the destination itself. So I think we will have a prospective and also optimistic situation in the future. Yes, the second part, I would like to focus on the destination management. Next slide, please. Yes, destination management relates to the sustainable model. So I think this is also important then to link with the visitors management and including how then we dealing with village tourism. So can you come to 20 slides 20, please? Slide 20. Slide 20, please, Pak Ferdiansyah. Yeah, next one. Next, please. Yes, I no. Can you hold this on the slide 20? Slide 20. No. Can you be back? Back. Yes. Hold on. Yes. This is our program to engage community-based and village tourism, raise local characteristic, authenticity, local wisdom, including biodiversity, landscape, traditional culture, but with the contemporary packaging, so that it is important to match with the customers' needs and wants, but then again, still keeping the authentic experience, culture, nature, ambience, and rural atmosphere. So this is really important. How then we can engage more participation for the local people, local residents. So that is again, we put on our strategy and program to develop village tourism as a model for the community-based tourism, together with our cross sectors, mainly Ministry of Desa as well, and also other ministries. Yeah, so that's the main point is how then we link. Next, please. Next slide, please. How then we link community-based tourism with the sustainable one. So this approach will be a kind of convergence model. Then we think that it's not easy to put on the ground, but then again, by getting or gaining some best practice nowadays, we believe that it's really a great model. How then we can combine community-based tourism and sustainable tourism to make sure the contribution to the cultural with the minimum impact, but then again, the cooperative consensus is a model to gain a participatory approach, as well as how then we can link with the dimension or pillar in the economy, sustainability, cultural sustainability, environmental sustainability, as well as the management sustainability. So this is really work on the ground, and based on our experience in the national level and also together with the provincial and the district level, some programs endorsed by the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy since the last 5 years, since, for example, 2019, 2016, we started to initiate the Indonesia Sustainable Tourism Awards, and also we are focusing at the time to touch the measurements for some destination, including village tourism or desa wisata. So this is also give the evidence and proof that by measurement the the dimension, the criteria, and also the indicators on our toolbox can also give insight to the managers or the leaders of the desa or rural areas or the community leaders to apply, to include the dimension of or the indicators that can also boost the quality of the product, and also how then they can preserve their culture, and also how then they can get the equitable contribution or income from the tourism activities. Yes, can you go down, please? Next slide. So I think this is really happening to link also with the rural tourism. So that is also a part of the countryside experience, and then again, it also linked with the community participation. Can you move to slide 28? So I would like to show some programs and also action that we have already put on the ground. How then we combine together with the initiative from other ministries to have the collaborative and participation from and support from other ministries, and then how then we link with our capacity building assistances of the programs, and then we can come up with the quality of the product, with the quality of the experience, and then we can also promote the product to new customers or the existing market as well. So that is also come down to the business model that they have already done. Next, please. Next slides. Yeah. So we starting the program with the mapping of the village tourism with let's say 4 categories. Yeah, pioneering, developing, advanced, and independent. So that is our self-assessment, and also mapping to see the level of the development of each tourism village. So then again, having this assessment, so we can come down with the practical program as well as action that can assist the management or the quality of the human resources, as well as the product presentation, product packaging, including promotion as well. So this is a kind of the process, and also how then we start with the input, and we need to see the value added in the community-based tourism assessment. Next, please. Yes, this is the standard that now we are using as a reference, and I believe that for ASEAN countries, we have a common standard, and this is again how then we can measure the quality, the level of the development to touch with the community-based tourism, including the management, the ownership, contribution to the social welfare, encouraging interactive, and again, in the business level, friendly to operator performance, quality of accommodation, including homestay as well. So the quality of food, culinary, souvenirs, interpretation, tour guide, and that is all engaged to the communities. So as I mentioned before, we are working with the standard, but then if we are talking about the standard in sustainable tourism, we link with this Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So in our program now, we are working to convergence the standard from the global level, and then we articulate it into our national standards. So next, please, next slide. Yeah, this is the standard that we refer to the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, and then we produce in pedoman or guideline for village tourism. So next, please. Yeah, this is again how then we learn and we adopt, we adjust with the model and standard from the global one and regional with the ASEAN, and then we have a national standard. Next slides, I would like to see some highlights in accordance with the what we have already done, but it's currently happened in 2020, this month actually, December, in the early week. Next slide, please. Yeah, we did a kind of field assessment on the sustainable tourism village certification. This is again our effort to give some model and also best practices yeah, across the country to see how and also to appreciate what the leaders in the community and also in the village tourism, they have already applied and implement specific indicators in sustainable tourism, as well as to include the community as a main component on it. So this is again only the only some pictures, but we have done more than 10 in this year, but next year we will boost and make more village tourism or desa wisata to be included in our program, and then make sure that they have already comply with the standard. And yes, it's really give the confidence to the community leader, to the head of the village, that they have complied with the standard, and it means that it can give economic contribution and also make sure the environmental practices as well as the cultural one. Yeah, next slides. This is some highlights, and I think my colleagues. Next, please. Next slides. Yeah, this is again some example or some highlights like Penglipuran in Bali, Langgeran in Yogyakarta, and next one. This is some or two, three one. Pemuteran in Bali. This is a kind of village tourism that now they are really comply with the standard, and I think we will have some good models. And I think it's not easy because as I know that they have started more than 10 or almost 15 years ago. So this is again about the legacy, about the patience, and also the commitment to and also a love the tourism in the community. So I think this is again, we can identify the champion in our maestro in our tourism sectors and creative economy. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now the last part, I would like to share some future challenges and strategy that we would like to highlight as a part of our program. So last last part, please. Next slide. Yeah, future challenge. Yes. Yeah. So I mentioned before that we are focusing on the quality tourism experience. So rather than quantity, so we are focused more quality. So I think it seems to me that we will get more benefit, more balancing between the economic, cultural, social, and cultural, and also environment. It's not happening. I mean, easy to have this such kind of model, but I think by commitment and also collaboration with the stakeholders, including community and regional governments, I think we will focus with the sustainable tourism, human resources, visitor satisfaction, and product diversification, including technological adaptation. So a part of this, next slide, please. A part of this, so I would like also to show you the framework of the sustainable tourism development. So we started with the certification that I just given you the picture or the sharing, but we have a sustainable tourism destination program, observatories, sustainable tourism observatories in cooperation with the university across Indonesia, and also we are focusing also to engage with the tourism industry to be more green product, more green investment, green building as well, and also how then we are dealing with the tourism management, sustainable tourism management, including marketing, visitors management, green product. So that is a kind of approach that we would like to put on our program, as a matter of fact that we don't only focus on the visitor satisfaction, but then combination of holistic experience, the community satisfaction, visitor satisfaction, and also environment satisfaction. Yes, that is the idea that we are working with the ecosystem approach, because right now we have Indonesia Sustainable Tourism Council as a partner for the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, together with all sectors and also stakeholders. So next, please. That is the idea of the another two slides. The quality tourism is a part of our program, but then again, as I would like to mention also is about our challenge. Next slide, please. Yeah, next one. Next. Yes, I would like to close with some last two slides. The first is about the tourism and hospitality challenge. So I think we need the governance innovation to include with the social element dimension. This is about the science and technology and we need the governance, leadership, coordinator, common platform, engagement with the destination management. But then again, overall at the end, we are focused in the spectrum. The one single spectrum is about the sustainable development, resilience, localities, adaptation to mitigation and climate change, and also balancing life and happiness. So that is about the convergence of values at the end of our main objective of the tourism and creative economy development. So that is a kind of the model, and I think we then can see the next slides. It's about the focus on sustainable tourism. Next slide, please. Yes, yeah. Here I just would like to reiterate how. Sorry, next. Back one, please. No. Yes, yeah, quality tourism, access, clean health, safety, environment as our pipeline and program and also endorsement nowadays, and we would like to also to have a destination reputation to include digital, quality human capital, including community, the product development, management, communication, and creative and innovation. So that is the structure of our strategy and roadmap. So I think at the end, we make sure that community is also one of the main pillar to be included in our sustainable tourism program. So as a closing note, I would like to show you the key points. Next slide, please. Yes, next one. Yeah, the key points that I think we will engage and also touch with this, let's say, 8 items. The first one, I think important to highlight the governance innovation, business management, and then community-based tourism and sustainable development as a part of our model. Second is about the commitment and consistency. It's a kind of the reflection of Indonesia government in tourism and creative economy. How then we can implement and measure the quality and standard and also comply to the ASEAN one, as for example. But then again, how can we enhance and enlarge strengthening cooperation with the local, district, national, and international ones. So multi-level coordination, multi-layer partnership is very important. How then we can make them sit together between the local community, private sectors, and also the government. The third is how then, from our experience, the development of rural area, isolated and disadvantaged place, that maybe they have a very good potential for the tourism. So then we enforce to launch, to create, to develop the more natural and green product. So link with the value chains, linkage and ecosystem, promote the proudness and practice for the rural competitive advantage. So it's a same time can creating job opportunity in the local level. So then again, local expertise, release championship, excellent regional attracting. So then again, can also implies mitigating urbanization, for example. So that is a kind of how then we can start to restart to develop rural areas with the community-based development as a part of our strategy. So number 4 is about the community development and participation to be highlighted and be focused on the people, and then again how then they are more capable, more agile, more resilient, and also creative for the local people, so they can have a kind of the sense of ownership and sense of responsibility as a platform. So it's not easy to start with this, but again, by collaborative management with the supporting for all the sectors, I think we are more sure about this. Sense of place and local authentic experience is really important, that we can manage the positive perception, expectation for the local, providing homestay or food, culinary things, souvenirs, activities to see or to learn as a local atmosphere and daily life. Don't forget also the digital ecosystem to connect product and market. So that is also a kind of the approach and program that we can put forward. Adaptation to the market trends and a kind of the new business model. So I recommend that for example, health protocol and also guidelines in the clean health and safety as well as environmental sustainability is also a must to be implemented in our community-based tourism development. Again, protection and conservation to the nature, heritage, and we can come to the quality and sustainable tourism as a value proposition. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is what can, what I can share to all of you, and perhaps it will be providing benefits and can also give the insight for our discussion. Thank you very much, and I'm back to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bapak Dr. Franz Teguh, who's delivering the keynote remarks. Thank you very much. And Bapak Dr. Franz Teguh is also one of the most distinguished person in Indonesia for sustainable tourism. And he's been attending numerous trainings in Italy, Canada, Australia, and China, and also publishing several books on ecotourism and sustainable tourism. What we can highlight from his remarks is the strategy of national SIM to boost tourism, starting from domestic and international tourism, where the country focus on the quality by balancing supply and demand. For example, like balancing a travel destination and travelers' activity in the destination. And we also have the highlight on the efforts on certification on sustainable tourism villages in Indonesia, in 13 villages. And one of the practicing and applying model where we can see a village tourism business model that focus on capacity building, access to market, technology, and standardization and certification. And we would like to say thank you very much, Bapak Dr. Franz Teguh, for the keynote remarks on the discussion. And we will move forward to the next speakers. We have Madam Susan Santos de Cardenas. She received her Bachelor of Science in Commerce, majoring in Marketing Management, University of San Lazal, Philippines. And she's a UNWTO Multi-Advisory Council, a MEC partner, One Planet Sustainable Tourism Program since October 2016. And she's a founding board member of Asian Ecotourism Network since 2014. And a Green Destination Partner and Representative since 2019. And she's, of course, a president and CEO of the Society for Sustainable Tourism and Development, SSTDI, since November 2012. She's involved in numerous projects under the United Nations and speakers for numerous international conference and workshops. And she's also the spouse of Peru Ambassador to Indonesia, Madam. Okay, Madam de Cardenas, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Bu Wiwik. Salamat siang or salamat sore to everybody. Hello, everyone. Warm greetings to all. Good afternoon to Pak Franz. Nice to see you again. Good afternoon to our DASPA colleague, Ms. Wachari, and of course, my Asian Ecotourism Network co-board member, Ari Suhandi. I'm Susan Santos de Cardenas of Society for Sustainable Tourism, Green Destination Southeast Asia Partner and Representative. Once again, I'd like to thank Ibu Wiwik of Desma Center for your kind invitation to present about best practices in community-based tourism. This webinar is very timely as it is high time to rethink and rebuild tourism in a more sustainable way and make tourism recovery green, especially in community-based destinations, which are sad to say devastated by the pandemic. Last June 2020, the Philippine Travel Survey report showed that despite the travel restrictions, traveler sentiments indicate that domestic leisure travel will lead the recovery of tourism, and that the #1 travel choice is visiting nearby communities and local destinations. So, before the influx of domestic travelers, our local tourism communities should be better prepared, be resilient, and practice sincere sustainability once and for all with certified, genuine green, global sustainable tourism standards. Let me now share my screen with you. So what are the best practices around Southeast Asia for community-based tourism? The global pause on tourism has offered destinations an unprecedented opportunity to examine how to rebuild tourism industries in a way that benefits their economies and also protects the planet. Just as a review, we have these sustainable tourism initiatives in the Philippines since way back 2010. We have the Boracay Initiative, the Coron Palawan Initiative. We started the sustainable agro-tourism, and we had ecotourism courses for Asia Pacific at the ISST, and we founded the Asian Ecotourism Network since 2012. And we had community-based tourism coaching and assessment in 2019. We also held the first GSTC National Forum in the Philippines with some GSTC destinations workshop in Davao and Responsible Tourism Travel Business Exchange in Clark, Pampanga. And we had the Regional Development Council's Private Sector Representatives National Convention featuring the GSTC. What is going green and why is it important? As you can see in the photo, Kawasan Falls in Cebu, Philippines. As reviewed in the TripAdvisor, it is really stunning, but extremely crowded. Of course, this was before the pandemic. Likewise for Angkor Wat in Cambodia. And there's also a review of the National Geographic to skip overly Instagram Bali. And the all too familiar Boracay Island, which was closed by no less the Philippine president as he declared it a cesspool and closed it for 6 months. And there's Maya Bay in Thailand, which was also likewise closed until 2021. So in the Philippine Travel Survey report, this June 2020, the Department of Tourism, in collaboration with Guide to the Philippines and Asian Institute of Management, Dr. Andrew Tan Center for Tourism, produced the Philippine Travel Survey as its way of offering support to the tourism and hospitality industry, which was affected by the pandemic. They have shared what was discovered about Filipino travelers' behavior, sentiments, and expectations on domestic travel in the new normal. And the Philippine Travel Tourism Recovery Survey results show that over-tourism is the old norm, inclusive, sustainable tourism will be the new normal, health and safety protocols will not be compromised, and adoption to new technology is a must. What are the implications for the tourism enterprises? All our small and medium enterprises must adopt its products and services and collaborate with stakeholders. And as Pak Fran says, we need to collaborate with both the public and the private stakeholders in this. And the tourism enterprises must review and recalibrate their value proposition based on the changes in the preference of the target segment, given the realities of the new normal, and cookie-cutter offerings are no longer sufficient. We must focus on personalized, engaging, story-rich, and technology-driven tourism products for added value. So we have the Green Destination Southeast Asia now. And this was an initiative from 2014 in response to the GSDC destination standard. We support destination managers in 200 plus destinations to make their places better and more sustainable. Green Destination offers the only program inspired by the European Tourism Indicator System, ETIS, the ISO 14001, the EU Eco-Management and Audit Scheme, EMAS, Global Reporting Initiative, and GSTC, that is used in the market to inform travelers how clean, green, and sustainable destinations are, and to support marketing of destination selection done by Booking.com affiliate, bookdifferent.com, and I Am a Good Traveler. So we also provide market access and market support. So as I mentioned, we are working in tandem with GSTC. As PAC France, the prime mover of the sustainable tourism advocacy here in Indonesia has said, in fact, Indonesia has already adopted the GSTC criteria since 2016. And most of the communities and villages are already being trained and build capacity towards this. And Green Destinations is the GSTC accredited certifying body. And all the 6 themes are in fact meeting the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals. And we are working with the tourism businesses in order to attain the Sustainable Top 100 Destinations recognition. We provide training and capacity building from tourism development and management to awards and certification. So with this, we also help restart tourism in a more sustainable way. And we have already, in fact, winners of community-based tourism in the Philippines. From Cebu, we have the Alog-Ginsan Boho River, which from illegal loggers, they became ecotourism managers. The community within were trained and built capacity to do ecotourism based on conservation, and they are managing and are supporting the rest of the local host community. So this is really the genuine green, sustainable, community-based tourism. The community members themselves manage this site. They also provide the entertainment themselves. They help prepare the food. They conduct the tour along the river with the interpretation of the 26 species of mangroves in between, while at the same time help in the conservation of these mangroves. Can you imagine that they used to do illegal logging of the mangroves, and now they are preserving it for the future generations? And also, as the river goes out to the sea, they're also helping preserve the Tanyon Strait nearby, which is also a marine biodiversity conservation site. Another example is in Lake Holon, which is also an example of community-based tourism where the Tiboli tribe utilizes ecotourism that ensure the spread of benefits to all the stakeholders, and at the same time protect and preserve the heritage of the Tibolis. So can you imagine that a long time ago, they were the rebels, the so-called rebels, but now they are the eco-guides and managers of the Lake Holon, which is the tourism attraction. So they also provide the entertainment. They prepare the food that is local food, and are also indigenous food, just resourced from within the province. And of course, they also show their talents and culture by way of music and dances. Another site is the Lake Cebu, home of the Tinalak Dream Weavers, which is an emerging eco-cultural tourism destination in the region due to its 7 waterfalls, 3 lakes, rich biodiversity, and cultural heritage. This is also home of 2 Tiboli and Ubo tribes in the region. So they also showcase their culture with the School of Living Traditions and Homestay. They also have the Langdulay Weaving Center and the Cooperative of Women in Health and Development, COWHED, they call it, which showcase all their weaving, the traditional weaving, for more than 2 centuries already. Another province is in Parana, Samar, Philippines, wherein from timber to tourists, community transformation in Samar Island National Park, and to stop local residents from engaging in charcoal making, timber poaching, and the slash and burn farming and hunting wildlife, the SINP, together with the DENR, our Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and the local government unit, organized the community groups and provided livelihood training. So now they are managing this torpedo, which is a boat ride along the river. So they are also the eco guides with the interpretation of the river along the route, and of course with all the safety precautions on a limited number of visitors at one time in order to preserve their natural resources, which is also the source of their tourism income. Here in Indonesia, I have the honor to participate in the Indonesia Sustainable Tourism Awards. And I'm so happy that we were able to encourage the destinations to participate in the top 100 sustainable destinations. And in fact, 4 of them were able to make it as finalists. So we have the Penglipuran Village, which is also based on community tourism, preserving culture and nature while showcasing it to the world. This is really a genuine, green, and also clean community. However, one problem that was observed here before the pandemic was the visitor management, because they need to limit the number of visitors so that the village will not look like a Disney. And before you know it, all the houses and the streets are covered with people, and you cannot already enter the street. But that was before, of course, the pandemic. Nowadays, this can be better managed with crowd control and, of course, the number of visitors while observing safety and health protocols. Another village is the Pemuteran, which is a project with focus on conservation, education, ecotourism, and livelihood opportunities. This is a village of fishermen before, wherein they also had problems with the fishing at that time. But they thought that they should first conserve the sea in front of them, and then therefore let it thrive, and then attract community-based tourism visitors instead. So they are now, in fact, they have won also as a finalist in ISTA and also in the top Sustainable 100. There's another one in Ngalengeran Village, which is on top of, I think, a 600-year-old volcano, a UNESCO geopark, and also a ASEAN community-based winner. So again, these are all the authentic community-based tourism. Then there's the Penting Sari, where also visitors will have understanding about the nature, the traditional culture, the arts, and local wisdom. Again, with the new normal, the visitor management just has to be managed, has to be handled correctly here. Because the fear at that time was that it's such a small community, but they might tend to have a lot of visitors because there was also a boom in the area. But now with the new normal, I'm sure that they will be rethinking, especially with the safety and health protocols. So what are the takeaways from the sustainable community-based tourism? Is that we have to engage all the community and promote local culture and preserving nature as a way of solving over-tourism. That is what Pak Franz also mentioned earlier. And then we have to focus on quality tourism over quantity. Of course, this is already a given in the new normal. We have to emphasize authenticity and unique qualities of destinations, especially its distinct cultural and environmental conservation elements. So in other words, the communities don't have to be Disneyfied, put up so many facilities in order to please all kinds of of visitors or for children, for adults, or for what have you. But they just have to the authentic and unique qualities of their community, and also to preserve the cultural and environmental heritage. They also must practice target marketing and strategic development to attract longer stay visitors. What happened before the pandemic was that because of social media and Instagram, people would just go, for a few hours, visit a few hours, take photos, and then leave. But what have they really felt with the local community? Have they connected with the local community? This has to also change the mindset. And in order for tourism to recover, they must also at least attract longer, even if just domestic visitors. The visitor behavior also plays a role. It can be managed. As Pak Franz said, also over-tourism is already a thing of the past, especially in these pandemic times, and we have to ensure safety and health protocols at all times. Also, we have to focus on buying local products and support the SMEs. So therefore, buy local, support local. And to ensure the long-term sustainability, I would encourage to join the Top 100 Sustainable Green Destination Awards to Certification Program. We are working together with the ISTA, the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy here in Indonesia, in order to ensure this. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would be happy to answer your questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam De Cardenas, for the highlights and the interesting presentations. And the things that we can highlight, I think some of interesting points that Madam De Cardenas has already pointed out is about the over-tourism in famous spots across Southeast Asia, and where the Philippines has already responded some of the initiatives, locally based initiatives, like Madam De Cardenas has showcased several cases in the Philippines, like Philippine Aloy Guisan Boho River, where the illegal loggers turn into the ecotourism management, where it's managed by a community where they providing mangrove fishing tours. And also Lake Colon, Tiboli tribe, where the tribals transferred to tourism also, the same cases. And where CBT tour packaging providing culinary tours and something locally like dancing to the visitors. And another two cases, interesting cases that we pointed out are Lake Cebu, where they have waterfalls, lake, river, and weaving centers. And also another interesting cases we see in Paranas at Samar National Park, where also another case of poachers and illegal loggers that turns and transformation into what their activities in the past into tourism that is more sustainable. And I've seen one of the interesting points as well in the Philippines domestic survey that sustainable tourism is the new normal. And I hope for you, the participants, have noted 7 points of takeout in CBT practices, like quality over quantity, focusing on SME and locally product and services, and longer stay. And of course, about the certification of green destination. Thank you very much, Madam De Cardenas, for a great insightful highlights. And we move forward to the next speakers. We have Pak Ari Suhandi from Indonesia. He's a founder and director of Indonesia Ecotourism Network since 1995 with the project that received international recognition and awards. He's also vice chair of Asian Ecotourism Network and a leader of nature-based tourism in Indonesia since 1987. And he is also numerous team leader projects for the United Nations and speakers for numerous international conference and workshop. He's also providing advisory of ecotourism and community-based tourism for both Ministry of Tourism in 2017, and Ministry of Environment and Forestry in 2019. Bapak Ari Suhandi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Ibu Wiwi from Desma Center to invite me to share our experience. Honorable speakers, Mr. Franz Teguh, Madam Susan, as well as Kun Wachari from DASTA. And all the participants who are watching this. I am a practitioner, which is I would love in the next 15 minutes sharing how that actually we develop one of the good practices community-based tourism in Indonesia. Can you share my presentations, Mr. Ferdiansa? Yes, so I will try just to take more closely to one samples and using how to develop the community-based tourism. Our organization itself this year's already 25 years. So actually there are a lot of good practices in Indonesia, and some of them is already mentioned by Susan, which is already recognized by the international award. There are also some good beforehand in 2000 or 2004 or 5, which is also recognized by international award. Next, please. So this is our footprints in Indonesia. So our next, please. So then if we're talking about the community-based tourism, Indonesia is huge potential for that. We have about more than 74,000 villages in Indonesia. And as you know, we are an archipelago country, which is also rich with the tribes and more on the different language. So this is a huge potential, no doubt. But the challenge is also high, as mentioned by Ibu Wiwi previously. Next, please. So this is, I just highlighted some challenge during the community, if we develop the community-based tourism, especially if we're talking the traditional people or indigenous people, high costs in maintaining the cultures and decreasing interest of the youth is also one of the challenges, in preservation of the cultures. In terms of the tourism itself, usually we found out that it's a poor human resources in tourism services, which is mostly the local people is a farmer or fisheries, or so this is some a challenge that we found. It's a poor capacity as well in the management, especially. This is one the most not easiest one, the biggest challenge in the institutional building and the distributions of benefit. We need to facilitate them on that level, and managing negative impact of the tourism itself. And usually the most unique, the authenticity is high value is remote locations, poor supporting infrastructures. In some cases, people say that it's weaknesses, but on the other cases, actually one of the challenges, also opportunity, the biggest opportunity. So limited and poor quality of tourism product and souvenir, that usually also the biggest challenge we found out on the ground. So next, please. So The key is actually in adding value of the traditional knowledge. This is the way how our approach is mostly focusing on actually how that community can manage their own resources sustainably. As I mentioned by Ibu Wiwi in the opening, that the biggest challenge is sustainability. So our approach, this is one of we always using. So we are not using tourism as per se, but we always combining. This is what we call based on the local resources. Our approach we divide it by three aspects. One is tourism itself. The second is we call it agriculture's based product and the craft based product. That's what we looking for, because in our approach that tourism sometimes we just looking as a bonus in this case. That's why if you look from the case of pandemic, for instance, if you are 100% lay on the tourism, that can be really difficult for the villagers itself. So actually we try to keep the villagers maintaining their own resources. They're more existing what they have. If they are focusing on the crops, so we're focusing on that. Like the one that I want to share here is the Wairbo, they're focusing on coffee. Then we still keep it the coffee actually one of the main source of income, and then combine it with the tourism and how you manage that link to each other between the agriculture-based product, craft-based product, and the tourism product. Because on how to make the craft itself can be an attractions, and the agriculture's process is also how you manage after harvest is also one of the attractions. So those is a blend to one each other. It's really combined. So it's a tourism can be as a tool to help the preserve cultures by documenting and rewriting traditional knowledge and shifting it through the activities that will increase the experience and awareness of the people who are involved. Next, please. This is the 5 pillars that we use, which is not one to the other. Sometimes it's parallels working, depend on the situation on the ground. So, but the most important is the institution capacity building, institution development, and the tourism planning. This is actually one of the biggest gaps, not even in Southeast Asia. I think it's also in Indonesia. The tourism village just starting. This is what need all the government should be put it an effort for put it the village tourism planning. The one that is already actually exists and even get the international award, actually they are still up on the village tourism planning. For us, if we are coming into the one village, this is a very crucial. This is the one that we should be focused on. To bring in what the key parameters on that is a common consensus for the long-term goals. Yeah, this is because that is very important, because you're not working for the 1 or up to 10 people, but you are working with the whole community. And as well as the accentuating the local knowledge with the market sensitivity and high appreciations in the process. So we always teach the local that how that they should be patient and following, because for us tourism is the process itself. The development of tourism is a process itself. So the people who are involved that it should be enjoying the process itself, how to learn. It's a learning by doing as well for them. Next, please. So I would like to divide one by one. For us, is the most, again, it's important the village tourism plan. The first village tourism plan that we established is back in 2000, in 1999, 2000, that's in Tangkahan, and we developed for the 15 years even, and we review after that. So it's the second one is for the Candi Rejo in the close to the Borobudur, and after that we every place that we came to help the local people, we always starting with the participatory approach and village tourism planning, which is again, I always put it, this is a very highlight and put it all the governments, universities should be helped on this case. And especially after that, also in the institutional management, visitor management, including the standard operation procedures and code of ethics. So in every place that we help, usually we have the code of ethics, which is what we call usually the message from the local host, so that the people not feeling that this a code for ethics is not. Sometimes the visitors also need to be educated. And this is included many of the questions about delineation, especially the delineations of access, use of tourism, and special is in the rural area usually is one of the problems, because if you are getting already success and then you got a problem, if you're not maintained since the beginning, then usually difficult to handle the situation after that. So delineation, let's say if I give an example, if I want, there is one waterfall, for instance, the road to going to the waterfall, who's the land we passed it? So we need to get the permission for that. So that is some small samples that we teaching people, even though they know each other, but when because we bring them to the dreaming, if you are success, you can do this, this is what can be happen, this is what can be happen. But how you failed after that, how you handled the situations when you get success, because that is usually the biggest challenge for the community to handle when they are success. So this is all a question we drop it sometimes, and how to learn. With the news technology, with the social media, WhatsApp group and etc., that's really help us actually to the ground. If our village they have a communication signal in their communication access very good, then we also monitor from using those technology. Next, please. So when you see the drawing back and forth, not one time, and then after that we help them to touch up in a beautiful way, so they can feeling this is again. And the most important planning is also as a spatial, spatial area zoning is an important aspect, and identification based on the custom, also do and don'ts based on what the community, which area they don't want to. Usually in the rural, that's happen a lot. You know, like in Indonesia, we call keramat area. So it's if you're an area of keramat, you cannot enter that. Some area people do not, the traditional people do not want any outsiders past that area. Next, please. Yes. So this is the capacity building. And then when you do this capacity building, you cannot do, this is also that we work with France, I think closely, and France and the Ministry of Tourism and Economic Creative is already tried to change the mindset. It's not one time, or I call it a one shot training, and then later on you came again and next years, but it should be a facilitation type. It should be kind of like the incubation type. So you should be together with them, because tourism for them is a new, something new. Selling the tourism is something new for them. Yeah. So it's this is usually we talk about the guiding, porter, rescue. That's important if your area is in the very rural. So homestay for sure, music, traditional music, and culinary, and etc. So in Wairebo, this is one of the sample that I want to show up after this. It's actually, we tried to, when I came in 2004 to 2005 to 2006, This is it's a very poor, and it's only left 4 of the traditional houses. But the Wairebo is the only one for Manggarayan cultures, which is a living heritage. It's been where the community still live in their own traditional houses in a mountain, in a 1,200 above sea level. And in the beginning, I should walk about 6.5 hours to reach this village. But now you can reach only 2.5 hours to reach this village. But those parts, the experience walking in the forest to reach this village is also one of the biggest attraction for tourists. Next. So the capacity building about the products. The product, we always bringing the principle of 3. This is what the Indecon always bringing everywhere since we are established. The community friendly, environment and biodiversity friendly, and tourist friendly. So it's tourist friendly, it's more on the services, cleanliness, and etc. So the community is sensitive to the community and the environment for sure, and how they actually maintain. Like in Wairebo, even we helping them on the how to use the wild plant to be used for culinary, for drinking, you know. So they don't believe actually surrounding them on the grass, and if we can pick it up and then clean them and then teach them how to become as one of the substitute for drinking. Next. So this is all the experience that we want to show, actually living in, learning about the community itself. Yeah, if we're talking about cultures, usually people talking about art and or performance. But actually, if you are following the daily life of the people, that is already, you are learning about their own cultures, the heritage architecture, learning about traditional, the coffee plantation, processing, traditional weaving, for sure it's music and dance is there too. So this is can be as a package, you know. And so next, please. So after that is in the marketing side. Usually, since the beginning, the process, we already sense the message to the. We are how this is the good thing about the network. Indecon have also a lot of members from the tour operators, both nationally, regionally, as well as the internationally. And usually we are working and send them the message, you know, we are in this process, how you can take a look. And right in the middle of the process, we try to involve them. Yeah, this is, but in the same times, before we invite, usually in the marketing, we also try to help the facilities as well. And the facilities, you know, like in the Wairebo, we took a lot of times. It's not as simple how to change their behavior to put just a simple dishes after the people eat, and put it in the properly place, and teaching how they keep them just clean, just for cleanliness. You know, it's how they have a simple book that we teach them how to clear up the house, the house for the guest house for the guests, as well as the learning about the to maintain all the informations that we help them to put it, including the informations yearly money they have, distributions money, and etc. that we're sharing on that type. So then the visitor actually can see where is their money goes. Next. So The management, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, is a very important. In Wairabo, for instance, we put the name is Lembaga Pelestari Budaya Wairabo. This is not just focusing in tourism, but if you look, the name is actually the conserve their cultures. So why? Because with their culture is actually their ancestor who are save their culture is actually who are bringing up people come. So they should be aware for them to remind always that to conserve their own cultures is one of the very important and also indicators. So in tourism, the standard operations, welcome guests, book, that's the one that very important. The duties and implementations, usually we even use following the 5-star hotels in Wairabo, there is a manager of the guests. And this manager is always keep watching all the guests, ask questions, accompany them if they have something. But the groups of the women, we have 5 groups, and one group consists about 8 to 9, and they rotation for every week. So this woman, about 42 women in Wairabo, is only used 1 or 1.5 days per week to involve in tourism. The rest is they still keep it working on the agricultures, yeah, and also maintaining the kids and others. So that is part of the thinking about sustainability. But so and how that actually we calculate cost and benefit of the people of their time in tourism sectors. So distribution of benefit is one of the very important, and also from the money they got, we distribute to how to help the nature conservation, cultural preservation, education, and health. And right now there is subsidized for all the community of whatever who wants to go to the high school in Ruteng. So then they got subsidized from the money from the tourism. Next, please. So this is one an effort. Usually we help, since that we have a lot of things as well. Usually we are working closely with Ministry of Tourism, and usually in Econ together with Ministry of Tourism closely in working with International Ecotourism Business Forum, where we invite all the international tour operators together with the Indonesian tour operators. And last year's event, is actually we bringing working together with Teata and working TRTA from Thailand to selling our ecotourism product in East Java. So those kind of working on the network, introducing our tour package and promoting through the network. So, and then we always asking the feedback from them and directly to us. This is the strong of the network, I think. Next. So then if you get in a populars, you should be careful as well. Usually a lot of they can run by itself. I mean, if your destination is quite unique, and but on the other hand, still we need to keep the promotions. But on the other hand, it's also keep watching the number. We calculate the number of visitors actually for, and right now for Wairabo 8,000 in 2019 is already a yellow light for us, because the maximum we calculating is about 10,000. It's very close, and this is need to be reviewed. Usually we can review, but Wairebo is still closed up until now because of the pandemic since 16th of March. Next. So this is one sample as one also Wairebo, also the village that the first winner for ISTA in 2018 for the community category with the 8,000 in I think they are maintaining about 2.6 million rupiah or billions rupiahs, and 600 million rupiah actually came from the product based on agriculture and product based on craft. So for instance, the way how we did it is we packaging the coffee on the top, but we don't sell it the coffee outside of the Wairebo. So we actually try to attract people. If you want a coffee of Wairebo, the real one, you came up to us, but actually just already invite. And today, I think the most powerful is the mouth to ears. I mean, the tourist itself is a good promotions tools. And if we look from the TripAdvisor's assessment rating, I think Wairebo is still in a very good situation. That is one of the indicators we're always looking at every 6 months. If something happens, we show it in the very comment, then we coming back to the community. Even though right now it's actually since last year, this is the first trial of the Wairebo, we left them and we teach them, we assist them from far, but still communications always. Next, I think this is what I want to share. Please do manage our resources sustainably. I think that is, if you're doing right, tourism are very good tools. But if you not manage the tourism, can be as one of the also have a lot of problem, a lot of talent in the management. Thank you very much. Hope it's useful, and thanks for everyone, participants and panelists. I'm giving back my time to Ibu Wiwik. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bapak Ari, for interesting presentation. I think it is amazing how our three highlight almost the same thing, like speaking on quality over quantity. And the things that we can highlight from Bapak Ari Suhandi presentation, that he's showcases the projects in Indonesia and the challenge of remote location and capacity. And also, I think it's interesting to see a deep look on Wairebo Village cases in Flores, Indonesia. And I think you have also highlighted 5 pillars in implementing community-based tourism, which include capacity building, village tourism planning, product development, institutional development, and marketing, by applying those elements with the participatory approaches. And one of the things that Bapak Ari Suhandi has highlighted so much is the benefit distribution in the case in your destination. And Bapak Ari also highlight about the promoting local resources that can be crafted into product and service to become more responsible. Thank you very much. As we have a very limited time, we should move forward to the next speaker. We have Kun Wacharecuruksa from Thailand. He's been working for Tourism Authority of Thailand, or TAT, for 24 years, specialized in sustainable tourism development and marketing, especially ecotourism and community-based tourism. And since 2007, she's an assistant of Director General for DASTA, or Designated Areas for Sustainable Tourism Administration, responsible for developing models for sustainable community-based tourism development. She received her master's degree majoring in tourism management at Lincoln University, New Zealand, and also bachelor degree majoring in tourism at Cbt University, Thailand. Kun Wachari Churuksa, the floor is yours.
สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you คุณ Vivek and firstly thanks for Desma for inviting Dasma to share knowledge and experiences on CBT best practice in Thailand. So and I would like to introduce my organization a little bit. DASMA stands for Designated Areas for Sustainable Tourism Administration. We are under the Ministry of Tourism and Sport, responsible for integrating all relevant parties to work together and to develop sustainable tourism destination in practice in the designated areas. Okay, so can we show the slide? Can I have the slide presentation? Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Can you go to the, okay, so as you know, Thailand, we enjoy very much on tourism growth. We earn a huge amount of tourism income and a number of visitors. But how can we ensure the sustainable tourism development? So we look at the community-based tourism as a tool in order to distribute the tourism income and benefits from tourism to the community. Next slide, please. And next slide. So the community-based tourism approach for the community empowerment, we build the community capacity to be able to participate in tourism development. We empower the local community to manage tourism by themselves and for themselves. And the community can yield benefits from tourism development economically, socially, and environmentally. This is the purpose of we develop tourism CBT in Thailand. Next, please. And to ensure the success or the sustainability, the Thailand and DASMA we have a pilot project size for sustainable community-based tourism development with 14 communities in the designated areas. So we start in 2012, and these communities, they didn't know about tourism development. We selected the potential community in order to start with the 0 point in order to have experiment like to use the tools to develop the capacity of local people. And we selected these communities from their tourism resources like culture, nature, history, and architecture based on their identity and uniqueness. So 14 communities in 7 provinces. Next, please. And after the about 5-year development, we found that many of them, the pilot communities, received the awards, tourism awards at the national and international levels from Tourism Authority of Thailand, from Pata Association and Asinta Association awards. So it's proof that the process of development work. So Ban Lai Gong King will be one of the case study, our best practice in this presentation. And so the government assigned the DASMA to expand the models to more provinces in the 8 tourism development zone in Thailand. Next, please. So how do we develop the CBT in Thailand? So we need to base on the knowledge first. So we use the global sustainable tourism criteria from global sustainable tourism councils. I think it's the same as the case study of Philippines and also Indonesia. So this criteria has 4 criteria with a sub criteria, 41 sub criteria. We use this for evaluate the strengths and challenges of each community. So it helps for capacity building, program planning, and from our working with the 40 models, we use these criteria every year and also had a lesson learned in order to develop these criteria to be Thailand context. So we have 5 guidelines or criteria for Thailand to develop a sustainable CBT in Thailand. And last 2 years, we just developed 6 criteria for improving to be a standard of community-based tourism in Thailand with Department of Tourism Development, who is the authorized government for tourism standard Thailand. This way is to ensure community benefiting through tourism. Next, please. So how we developed community. Next, please. We can go next, please. And more, please. Yes. We have the step of the process of development in order to, it's like a cycle in order to make it improving every year. So the first thing we need to form the working group from local people. So create community participation and use the CBT Thailand criteria to evaluate their capacity and discover their heritage or uniqueness or identity in order to be be like a tourism product for communities. And after evaluation, we will see the strengths and weaknesses, opportunity, and also threats in order to set the planning together for the community. But in this all process, we not only work with community, we work with the relevant sector as well in order to work with community together at the beginning. And after we have a plan, that plans respond to the 5 criteria of the CBT Thailand criteria, which is a sustainable management, economic, social, and quality of life, cultural management, environmental management, and service quality and safety management. So after we have the planning, the community can do by themselves in order to improve the capacity by themselves. If they cannot improve by themselves, our relevant sector who work together will support the community to increase capacity according to their roles and duties. And we will monitor at the end of the year, and we have lesson learned together, and we will see the score of each year. Next, please. See, example of authentic CBT community in Pattaya is another side of beaches, is a coconut farm. So we see the first year, 2014, the score, we have full score is from 1 to 4 from 5 criteria. So we'll see the first year, the score is about 1 or 2 points, but the second year, green color, you will see the increase, the capacity of community increase to 3, and the the third year to 2016, you will see that the score increased to nearly 4. So it means that 100 criteria of sub-criteria, they can get about 80%. So it means they are ready to be for visitors. But during the time, we have the process of product testing, or in order to ensure that this can be cultural tourism for visitors based on their identity. So you can see the thing and also recommendations of development from the committee of evaluation. The committee consists of public, private, and educational institute, and also the community-based tourism models at the national level. They join as well. Next, please. Okay. So the step of development of CBT from development to appropriate tourism market. So community propose its uniqueness and identity to be tourism product, and all relevant sector contribute to community development according to their functions, and product testing by tour operator and tourists. And the last one, we propose to the appropriate market for the communities. Next, please. Publicizing and marketing to the quality market. So after the development, we will get the CBT package tour price, but we don't want to make this package tour from community to be just earning the income. So we need to educate them to understand we use the tourism resources from local community. So we have to return the benefits from tourism to community as well. So it means that our group in the working group, so like a food, homestay, interpreter, or souvenir, they have to donate about 5 or 10%. Is depends on the consensus of their communities to use for the community welfare. It depends on their decision making. For example, scholarship for youth, environmental protection, or infrastructure and facility improvement, or social welfare for senior people. This is the powerful of tourism CBT development in order to return benefits to community, not just only the members. Next, please. Next, please. So after we developed for 5 years with 40 models, we have a lesson learned, and we produce the handbooks to expand the knowledge and experiences from these models. And people in the community in this model, they can be instructor to help other communities to develop CBT in a sustainable way. Next, please. We have many knowledge, and also including creative tourism as well, to add more value to tourism product activities, and also the good interpreter in order to make their storytelling more interesting and appreciation. And we have also curriculum in order to educate our communities and our relevant sector to understand more about CBT step and process of development. So we developed the criteria and community help. We call community health check for sustainability, and CBT change agent and CBT marketers, and also guest experience management. This is curriculum to learn and understand more. Next, please. Next, please. And we have one of the best case study and well-known thematic of CBT, health and wellness tourism in Ban Lai Kong King, is in Chiang Mai province. This is it is one of the 14 models. We start this community start with 7 group, and DASTA work with a local community and set up the CBT promotion group in 2011 and use the criteria of the CBT Thailand criteria to evaluate the capacity of locals and establish the plan and implement the plan together, and working with a wide stakeholders, both supply side and demand side, to promote CBT and monitor every year, as I told you. And now the community's success in CBT and get many tourism awards while maintaining cultural assets and sustainable to the community. Next, please. So we can see the participation of local community in many groups, and in order to distribute the benefits of tourism, transparency, and back please, transparency and throughout the community. Food group, youth, and cultural performance, ladies, homestay, home lodge, art and handicraft, local transport, biking, and massage, interpreter, creative activities. Next, please. Next, please. So this is the 5 criteria in details. You can see the each criteria, and totally 100 criteria is linked to the sustainable development. Next, please. Okay. So after the development of CBT with local community, with the working committee group, and we can have the cultural activities and for a visitor to exchange their tourism experience. Yam Kang is traditional massage by foot, so you can see only in the north, and herbal ball making for creative tourism activities, and healthy local northern food, homestay and herbal product, and traditional performance and sizing by biking. And it's really special for this village. All are organic and eco-friendly tourism product. So a visitor can be sure that they will be healthy, and this is response to the trend of tourism. Next, please. And how they generate and share the benefits to their communities. Tourism income and benefits are distributed to all relevant groups of local community directly and transparently, as following to working members and in the committee group, and non-working members as well as the from the benefits, and they invest money in the saving group, and also being a tourism fund for our children. They have a family day after end of the year. At the beginning of the year, they will invite local people in the community to have dinner together. Local people call it's a wedding day for them, because it's the day to distribute to our children to get the scholarship, and senior people get the welfare as well, and the people who protect the environment. And also they have gifts for lucky draw for all people in communities. It's a wonderful, and they have the transparency chart to show the income of tourism distributed to where each group and to the members. Next, please. Next, please. Oops. So, back, please. Back to the back, please. No, back, not. Okay. So we will how they market So strong branding of sustainable CBT models as a health and wellness attraction for tourists, as well for the learning destination for educational groups, and also consistency of quality CBT. They receive national and international awards, and also we work with the marketing public sector like a TAT and Tour Operator Association. They help to, because of good reputation, this sector help to public relations and also word of mouth and social media from visitors. So, and also the community, they have a continuous cultural activity development as a new product every year. So this can come up with revisitors because they feel that they come to visit here, they will find a new experience. Next, please. And so this is for international and awards. Next, please. Okay, so after the success of the development of CBT in Thailand in terms of society and the balance of social, cultural, and economic and the environmental development. So the government assigns the DASPA to set up the National CBT Subcommittee under the National Tourism Policy Committee in order to expand knowledge and experiences, and also work with the our government, relevant government at the policy level in order to ensure sustainable for and expand the models in other provinces. And in the 8th development zone, we have a committee of CBT in the 8 development zones. And also we are very proud of the committee of the communities themselves. We last 2 years, we set up the unofficial CBT from the CBT Association at regional levels from the North, Northeast, East, and South, and the Andaman. These are from local people, that they are from the local, from the provincial level. And these people from the regional level are in the National CBT Subcommittee as well. And we have the same goal and the same direction to use the criteria, CBT Thailand criteria, in order to achieve the standard of CBT Thailand. So this is the way of the implementation from the grassroots, from the local community to the national policy. Next, please. So we have challenging issue. We need to have more mutual understanding of our relevant sector on sustainable CBT development process, co-creation based and continuous development. It cannot finish only 1 year. It depends on the capacity of local community as well, and the integration of all relevant sector in terms of function and budget in the same goal, and we need to create and strengthen CBT network in both relevant sector and communities, and also among community as well. And we expect the CBT as a tool to inherit the values of cultural and natural resources and sustainability from generation to generation, as the CBT is for social rather than economic. So tourism income is additional income for CBT. So I think next. And thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you, and I'm very pleased to answer your any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kun Wachare Churuksa, for very interesting presentations. And again, then I have to say again that what we see from the presentation of 4 speakers that highlight almost the same thing, talking about the quality over quantity and also how to promoting local resources crafted into responsible products and services. I think it's amazing that to see that showcases in from DASTA project sites for sustainable CBT that focus on 14 communities that started in 2012, where they started from 0 points where they don't know exactly what tourism and then transform into the place, a destination that receive international and national awards and recognition. And I think this is also one of the interesting highlight that I point out from Kun Wachari presentation, that CBT package tour price is more than income. I think that one of the point out that we really highlighted from the presentation. Then, dear participant, I think we have the time limitation, so I need to go directly to the question. We already have so many questions lined up from the participants, and we have the first question from Bapa Muhammad Fajri from Wakatobi Island, and he has the question about how to keep the training that they have already conducted to get the participants get consistent on the result of the training they have already received, because sometimes maybe that the participants of the training did not apply, did not consistent, or did not apply what they have during the trainings. I think I would like to give the floor for Madam Susan Santos de Cardenas to respond this question, please.
Sorry, what's the question again?
The question is how to keep the participants of the training to get consistent of the result of the training they have received. Do you have any ideas or suggestion on how to keep the people to be consistent, to apply the things that they have received during the training?
Yeah, this is where the standards come in. So when they are trained, they have a certain standards. Like for example, for Indonesia, they have the GSTC standards, Sustainable Tourism Standards, and also for ISTA, also the same. And likewise, for our top 100 sustainable, there is also a roadmap wherein the goal is to achieve certain standards. So in order to achieve this recognition also, you have to practice what you have been trained for. So therefore, there must be consistency, and also there must be monitoring of the way they manage, of how they improve, you know. So the standards is a mean also to measure their success. So therefore, if they're not successful, then therefore they have to be still more persistent in applying the correct practices, in applying, for example, about environmental conservation, about interpretation, about achieving income, because they have to have also goals in achieving income and distributing the profit among community members. So therefore, there is really no choice but to be consistent and persistent in order to achieve these goals. So that's one way to measure the success along the way. And then it is not just a matter of being persistent and consistent, but also that you will be recognized and awarded. And ISTA is doing that also for the villages. So there is an incentive to be consistent and persistent.
Okay, thank you, Madam De Cardenas. So persistent, consistent, and benefit are the key points of that. Thank you very much for the answer. And I think we have to move to the coming up a question from Ibu Star Hasugian from Jitras Learning. she's asking about, I think this is the question of many people, that how to find the financial support provided to a new ground village community. I think I would give this question to Bapak Ari Suhandi and Ibu Wachari. Bapak Ari Suhandi. I know that Bapak Ari is on the way to the airport and he's still together with us. And while we are waiting for his response, I think, how about Kun Wachari? Could you please answer this question? How to find the financial support?
Yes, Mbak.
Oh, okay. Before Kun Wachari, Bapak Ari, please, Bapak.
Yes, thank you for the questions. I think for Indonesian's case, it's actually the village right now. They have the ADD, the Dana Desa. So it's the village fund, which is actually can be used to help using the scheme of BUMDes, for instance, and helping them to using that fund to start it up, the community-based tourism. And on the other hand, it's for sure there are some donors which is locally, regionally, or internationally, which is can also help. Usually donors can be through the NGOs like us, or through the governments to the governments, which is actually right now, I think after the pandemic, there are some globally known that tourism is the most suffer. And I believe there is also a lot of donors put it a challenge, channeling the fund to go to the helping the local community to rebuild their own tourism. That is some channel, which is on the other hand, is also can be, this is what we call the community business, and the community itself can set up the business by setting up or put it a bunch of people in the village and put a small money starting the business. That is also another way that we try to balance. This is we call there is BUMDes based on the village, but this can be BUM, Badan Usaha Masyarakat. It's a community businesses, so they can put an effort together and create a new business and help them on the business scheme. That is my comment, Louis.
Thank you very much, Bapak Ari, and also thank you very much to be together with us, even if you are in the airport. So we go directly to Kun Wachari. Could you please provide your insight on that? How to find the financial support for the new grown village?
Okay, so I think it is a good question, but for the community-based tourism development, we always think about the human resources development rather than fund. So it means that at present in Thailand, after the success of the distribution of income transparently and increase quality of life, our relevant sector who develop local community to be more quality of life, they are interested in tourism as a tool, but they don't know well about the tourism. They know only to produce the product at the area, but tourism is a multidisciplinary knowledge. So if any communities want to develop their resources and to add value to be used tourism as a tool, so I think you should start from the training, from the human capital training first, and you can get this training from the government easily. rather than fun, I think. And after you have knowledge, you can manage your resources and add value from tourism, and can I think the government will support you, not only fun, but also public relation and many things. If you can have your community strong, or strong community in terms of working together, and expect your needs and do and implement plan, do, check, act in it. So knowledge is important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kunwachari, for the highlights. As we have so many questions coming up, I need to go directly to the question from Bapak Arif Nugroho. I think this is also one of the questions that that so many people would ask about the CBT implementation and how to manage the people in the village where they at the initial phase where they just started their CBT operation. But as tourism is the long-term implementation, and then it needs the consistency. How to manage the situation because the benefit is not yet received, and how to manage that situation at initial phase. I would like to give this question to Madam Suzanne de Cardenas, please.
As I have mentioned in my presentation, for example, in Aloginsan, it was not an overnight thing either. It was before even the pandemic. And even among themselves, you know, most of them are housewives. Most of them are just loggers. They really don't have special skills, you know, to manage tourism, to do interpretation. However, some of them are educated, some of them are not. So therefore, they divided their skills among themselves. So there was like some kind of aptitude testing. Okay, so who is going to be the guide? Who is going to be the cook? Who are going to be the physical managers of the area? You know, who's going to do the cleaning, etc., etc., such that there was like a division of labor. And of course, it was always trained and built capacity by an NGO that is helping the government, because also the local government, the municipality, doesn't have enough manpower to train these people. So in fact, they also got an ecotourism and sustainable tourism advisor, wherein they were trained from the very beginning on the standards implementation, you know, and all the we call it the standard operating procedures in the operations in ecotourism. So it took like at least half a year to even train them. And luckily, because it was not, of course, the pandemic yet, visitors were already coming in. And it became successful such that a lot of people want to go in. But then they were very disciplined themselves, and they can only accommodate 60 people at one time. So this is also another quality wherein they know their capacity, therefore they know their limits, so therefore they don't want to go beyond that. And they have their target incomes, such that they reach the target incomes eventually, of course, and such that they also have more profit. And the profit was even shared, you know. They even donated books, school supplies to the public school within the town itself. So there is a division of labor, so to speak. It's really being managed somehow like a business, because at the end of the day, it is a social and environmental enterprise. So therefore, everybody has to do its part in order to contribute and in the division of labor. As we also saw in the presentation of Ms. Wachari, there was also the definition, you know, of the job description of each and every member of the community. So it was really organized in such a way that the skills are improved depending on the capacity of the members of the community.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam De Cardenas, for the response. And I think this is also the experience that Bapak Ari often face in the field. Bapak Ari, maybe you could share your experience in this thing with us. Bapak Ari. Okay, then.
Can you? Yes, Mawiwi.
Yes.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, how to manage the people expectation at the initial phase of the CBT operation, because this is the long term. Because the long term operation need the consistency, but at initial phase we need to be more consistent, right? I think you have faced this experience so much.
Yes, that's true. Actually, a good question. The usually that is in the beginning is a very important phase. That the first is bringing a commitment together of the community, and we always telling them about the good and bad of tourism. So we try not bringing too much the expectation, even though we always put it, this is a good if you manage. It's not good because tourism is also, it's like a double sword, you know. If you manage good, a lot of benefit, but if you're not, that can be also a lot of conflict can become. So then we maintain actually the expectations of the people, and we put it a commitment together always. If you are not put it a commitment for long terms, we're not come together with them. If they just want, that's also the question. A lot of people would like the instant, but tourism itself is actually a process. So then, as I mentioned, it's a process. So that they should enjoy the process itself, because the building capacity of the local peoples is actually a part of the sustainability. I think this is why we believe if you put the effort in the human resources, then part of the sustainability is already, you can already gain. Thank you, Mawiwi.
Thank you very much, Bapak Ari, for the response. I think I hope that the participant might have noted for those interesting. Then we have another one question from Chika Anissa, University of Sriwijaya. I hope that Kun Wachari could respond to this question. She's asking about how to promote community awareness on sustainable environment. Kun Wachari.
Come again, sorry.
Yes, how to promote the knowledge on sustainable environment to the community in the tourism sector.
Okay, I think we can do this with the educational institute in order to help to expand the knowledge and experiences as well. We how to promote, right?
Yes.
Promote knowledge,
yes,
right?
Yes.
To expand knowledge. So in Thailand, as we work as the networking, so we have a group of the community models. We expand from 14 models. Now we have 100 models. So these people, they have been trained. So now they are the instructor to train more. And this is our networking. But we also have networking with the educational institutes and also public and private sector that work together. So that's why we expand knowledge to them, and they can expand knowledge to community in their areas. This is the way, the mechanism that we use. in Thailand.
Yes.
Perhaps it's about the policy as well. The government should see the importance of the CBT development. So they will encourage and support the knowledge and experiences for more relevant sectors. Do I answer the questions?
Yes, yes. Actually, because the community sometimes have less knowledge about how
Okay.
to conserve the environment sustainably.
Yes.
So yeah, sometimes that how to engage that things in the community.
So I think I answer the same Kun Aria that perhaps the community they or the people who work within the community, they can ask for the help from the government, from the relevant sector, especially the Department of Tourism Development, in order to have a training. This is for the initial community in order to understand, because tourism has both sides, positive and negative, and it's very important to manage well. And not all communities can be tourism destination. So that's why each community, they may be good in any in other fields. So they have to analyze, they have to get a knowledge. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Kun Wachari. However, we still have so many questions lined up, but we would like to apologize that we have the time already over. And we would like to thank you very much to our distinguished speakers today, Bapak Dr. Franz Teguh, Ibu Madam Susan Santos de Cardenas, Bapak Ari Suhandi, and also Kun Wachari Churuksa, for your interesting, insightful presentation that I'm sure that can give the highlights and also knowledge and new practices to our participants today.